Welcome back here on the Xfinity Sports Report, your Colorado high school connection. Man, I picked a good week to fill in for Brian Ross. Semifinal action here, talking a lot of football. And why not bring our high school expert in Justin Adams. Welcome, and I'm going to get this out of the way. Former Buff. I guess you're always a Buff. Congratulations, Buff football team winning the Pac-12 South and playing for a Pac-12 championship.
Well, thank you. You know, it was a ring day. You know, I'm wearing this ring here of the 2005 Big 12 North Championship ring. Now, we didn't win it that year. A guy by the name of Vince Young in Texas had other things in mind.
Pretty good
but
guy, yeah.
I tell you what, being there at Folsom yesterday, seeing the Buffs finally get that Pac-12 South title, really good to see that team get the job done.
Nice to see the Buffs raise the profile of football, and certainly the rest of the universities around the region. You think about Wyoming's going to be playing in the Mountain West Championship as well. So a lot of former players, high school players that we've followed for many years here and are on those teams. So it's always kind of fun to watch. Well, Championship Saturday is coming up. Let's start in Class 3A, and defending state champions, two-time defending state champions in Pueblo East. This time they've got to travel. It's not at a neutral site. It's a home site in Discovery Canyon by virtue of being the top seed. They get to host this one at District 20 Stadium there in Colorado Springs. I'm not sure how this one's going to match up here with the Pueblo East and Discovery Canyon.
You know, if there was a way that you want to knock off a two-time defending state champion, you might want to do it at home.
Absolutely.
And that's what Discovery Canyon has. And they have a wonderful opportunity to do so. But they're going to have a very tough matchup up against Pueblo East, who, you know, Meade pushed them to the brink, but Pueblo East got the W. But here's another thing you think of Pueblo East as well. They have a lot of help. Coach Gary Barnett came down Friday, the day before the game, gave the team a pep talk. On the team as well, another former Buff, quarterback Bernard Jackson. He's one of the coaches for Pueblo East. So they have a lot of tradition, a lot of experience. It's going to be very tough for Discovery Canyon to get the job done. But it's good that you have the game at home, so see if they could take it to a full advantage.
Might be a little bit of revenge factor there as well. Last couple of years, it's been Pueblo East that has knocked Discovery Canyon out, and thanks to the folks that write up in chassanow.com and all the other prep websites, those two wins by Pueblo East were called upsets, essentially. And it would be an upset this time around by virtue of the way the seeding goes. But if you're a defending state champion, you've got to expect you've been there before. You're probably going to do just about everything right going in. You're not going to be too overhyped for this game.
Yeah, you have the experience. You've been there, done that. It's a lot like Valor Christian. I know we're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
You've been there before. You know what it takes to get the championship game. The other side, though, Discovery Canyon hasn't won it before. See, there's a difference. There's a difference between getting to the door and knocking the door down. And so for Discovery Canyon, they're going to have to really start fast, get to a great start. There's going to be a lull in the game, as in a lot of football games as well. But you have to have a good defensive stand as well up against Pueblo East and their explosive offense. So if you could do those things, it could be a fun time for Discovery Canyon at home.
Yeah, and it's going to be fun to see District 20 Stadium rocking down there in Colorado Springs. We've seen good crowds, but for a 3A state championship, this is probably going to be a great crowd. All right, let's turn to Mile High Stadium right next door to us here in the metro area and the 4A state matchup. And this is going to be a fun one. Pine Creek, a slow start this season. You and I talked about this early on in the season. We thought, well, I'm not sure if Pine Creek's going to be there. They've tightened up the ship, and they look really good rolling in against a team who has now worked themselves back into a conversation of being one of those perennial powers in Broomfield. How do you see the 4A state championship matchup?
Oh, man, this is going to be a tough one. This is close to my heart as well. You know, Gary Davies has been at Broomfield High School forever, but now he left, and then Blair Hubbard now, in his first season, took over for the Eagles, and now he's taking the team all the way to the state title game. And the Eagles are looking to win their first state title since 1984. Now, I was born in 1986. Now, if you want to do math out there, it's 32 years, a little bit of a tie, but you know, Broomfield has a really strong defense. We'll start with them, number one. Broomfield, definitely the 5th seed in 4A, came out very strong up against Windsor, who were the defending champions. And it was actually a 17-13 game midway in the 4th quarter, but then a safety by Broomfield really helped get that team over the top, as well as another kid by the name of Jalen Torres. He had 2 touchdown rushes for the day, rushed for 100 yards in the game as well. And so that's going to be a kid that you really want to keep your eye on for the Eagles, because if he could get over 100 yards again, get a couple of touchdowns, there's no reason why Broomfield couldn't walk away with the state title.
What's it mean when you beat a defending state champion? It's got to help boost your confidence a little bit, but for Windsor, that is a tough team, and over the years we've watched how they just kind of run 6 or 7 plays on you, throw a few wrinkles in there, but they do what they do very, very well. And for Broomfield, that defense must be a little better than good.
Oh, defense is very stout, very great defense, and they really put a lot of different things together. And that's why you could be able to run the football as effectively as you can, as Broomfield has done, because of that defense. You know, you go back to that game again, 17-13. Broomfield has to punt the ball deep inside, you know, their own territory, kicks it down into Windsor. Windsor's within the 5-yard line, and then you get a safety. That changes everything in the game. And so when you're able to do that, when you're able to stand firm with your defense, as we've seen with the Bus, and we can see with other teams as well,
right,
you are able to win games. But you're also looking at Pine Creek as well. They have a couple of guys that I like to see, and it is one guy, Davis Moore III. It's a freshman. This guy had 2 scores yesterday. A kid to really take a look at. You know, Todd Miller is really doing a great job getting that squad together, getting things together, and being a very good Chatfield team yesterday as well, 28-14. So it's going to be a struggle against a very good Broomfield team. But I will say this, I would not be shocked if Pine Creek is holding up the trophy at the end.
Yeah, well, they've been to Mile High Stadium before in that 4A state championship. All right, let's turn to the big boys now. Same as it was last year, Pomona and Valor Christian, although 2 very different looking clubs just by virtue of injuries that have hit the Big Black this year. I'm really impressed, though, with Pomona because not only has it been the next man up, but it's been the next man and the next man up on the depth chart, and that's the way it's worked through the quarterfinals for Pomona. When I saw what happened in the quarterfinals when Borgie went down, I thought to myself, oh, that's a shame. I really thought Pomona had a chance this year. Little did I know that Jay Madden had a little something cooked up and does have some depth there.
Yeah, definitely. You know, Cameron Gonzalez was there originally, you know, in the game yesterday. Then he got injured. And so who's the next one? You have this kid by the name of Mays who stepped in, who's a running back. Here's the great thing about this for him. He had 57 yards rushing yesterday. Before the game, he only had 100 yards total on the season. Yeah. So when you just plug and play kids, and I get it, right? You lose 3 top Colorado guys, you know, Borgie. You also lose Moretti. So those are tough guys to, you know, just plug and play. But what Jay Madden is doing is, without a doubt, just astounding on a high school level, just to get these guys to this level again, to get these guys back to a state title game.
Yeah, true definition of team, essentially, for Pomona to get there. Could be a tough one going up against Valor Christian. I mean, these guys, speaking of setting up a locker room in Mile High Stadium, you might as well have Valor Christian there. They're there almost every year. And of course, the one blemish there is the loss to Cherry Creek in 2014. I've got to say this about Valor this year, though. This is the most inconsistent Valor Christian team I've seen in a few years. And that's not to take anything away from the talent level, but they've really been up and down.
Started the season 1-3, and you're thinking, okay, this is the year Valor finally falls, right? The kingdom finally falls on his face, right? But how about this? Won the last 9 games, 9 straight, by an average of 33 points per game. The 3-point game that they won yesterday against Cherry Creek was the closest game, period, by far. Everything else was won by double digits. So once you think the Eagles are down, they're back flying again. And so it's going to be very, very tough to defeat that team. Dylan McCaffrey will start his 3rd straight title game. It's unbelievable what this guy is doing. And then Luke McCaffrey as well. You can't say enough about this kid. There's a reason why he's already being offered by the University of Colorado, right? Just the type of talent that they have. Rod Sherman doing a great job with the Eagles. But when you go back to Pomona, what's going to be the thing that's going to get them over the top? Is defense. Defense is going to be the biggest thing. Look what they did against Regis yesterday. Justin Lamb, who's a very good quarterback, had a chance to do one of his games as well. Went 8 for 25 yesterday with only a $107, right? And Regis didn't score their last 9 possessions as well. That's the way that Pomona is going to win this game. They're not going to win this game by throwing the ball all over the place. They're going to win this through defense. It's going to have to be an ugly game, kind of like the game that we saw with Cherry Creek at Valor yesterday.
Yeah, that plays well for Pomona, and it's interesting you talk about the margin of victory for Valor. When they played against Cherry Creek, and give all credit to the Bruins, they played very well yesterday. Valor didn't play that great yesterday. Part of that was the defense of the Bruins, but again, that's what I'm talking about, that inconsistency. a lot of times they could throw the switch. Took them a while to get that switch going, and a freshman kicks the field goal to win the game for them. So there's a guy down on your depth chart, and you're asking a lot from him.
He's so much down on the depth chart that I had to circle his name on his piece of paper.
Yes.
Okay, Brian Brogan. Okay, came in 28-yard field goal to win the game. And you know what? It's just one of those deals where you come on in, you're a freshman. I mean, I'll be honest. When I was a freshman, hell, I might have been 150 pounds soaking wet. Would have never thought about kicking a game-winning field goal to send my team to the state title game. But that's what this kid did. But another thing to talk about is what Dylan McCaffrey did on that last drive. Getting the ball at his own 45-yard line with 2 minutes to go, ready to play this game. It just shows you how good of a quarterback that he is to drive his team down to the 10-yard line, to get his team set up for that field goal, and to get the game winner.
I have a feeling we're going to be talking a lot about McCaffrey McCaffreys in this upcoming 5A state championship game. Justin, thanks for sharing the knowledge.
I appreciate it, Corey, always. And if you ever need any more Buffs knowledge, I believe I could be your man.
Yeah, I got you on speed dial. Definitely got you on speed dial. Justin Adams, our high school expert here, setting up the 3A, 4A, and 5A state championships. That'll be fun. Again, next week, we're going to have all of those highlights for you. Coming up for you, we still got top plays that we need to get to as we continue here on the Xfinity Sports Report, your Colorado High School connection.